What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 30th of 2017. Well, folks, as you all keep up with the channel, you know that in each video I say at least 2 or 3 times that I love getting your feedback in the comments down below. And the reason I say this so much like all of my other statements that I've ingrained into your head, is because I truly do mean it. To be fair, I've been relatively busy recently. I've been trying to balance long-term projects and big topics for DataDash, current content that I produce on almost a daily basis, and then also my job that I'm doing right now. And it's been a lot to juggle. Now, I'm not trying to sit here complain and get sympathy points, but at the end of the day, it is hard to balance all that. But even with all that, I do listen to your feedback, which is why I love the fact that you all continue to provide such quality feedback to me. And to prove it to you today, I'm going to take it a step further and actually produce something that a lot of you have asked about for quite some time. As many of you know, I've been doing weekly updates each and every week for the past few months. And I've decided that something that you all have requested for is actually quite reasonable, which is daily updates. Now, to be fair, I cannot do every single day, and really there's not enough news, even in an exciting space like crypto, to really cover it on a daily basis and give you substantial content that you really want to watch. So I can guarantee to you all, though, that I can do a few daily updates a week. Now, again, no specific number, but I will try to produce them when I think there's enough to talk about, and then also something that I can present to you all that would build value for your trading and investing. All right, so today we're going to do the first of daily updates on the DataDash channel. We're going to be talking about some price action and the big players. We're going to be talking about some of the big headlines in the crypto space, as well as some key players that I'm watching, and then also a trade opportunity that I've taken upon today that I think you all should at least keep an eye on. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the daily update. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with some price action, and today I want to start off with Bitcoin as always. Now, as many of you know, Bitcoin had a huge leap the other day. A lot of people were asking me to cover this, and were asking me the question, like, of course, should I get into Bitcoin? To be fair with you all, I can't really be too sure in guaranteeing that this is a good level to get into Bitcoin. Not to mention, I can't give you any official recommendations. Ironically, though, at the same time, we were calling for Bitcoin to hopefully pull back down. Now, to be fair, there was some news that came out that did push this up. I can't remember the exact headline that had led Bitcoin to jump up, but like always, we can never predict the news. News can lead something to go up or down, and then it makes technical analysis completely irrelevant. However, what we're still seeing here with Bitcoin is still the jumpy, volatile price action. We're not having the straight shot to the upside like we've had in the previous 3 bull runs. What we're getting to right now, in my opinion, is the upward part of the bull run, and it's getting a little more shaky and a little more risky to be buying at these levels. So again, Bitcoin might go to 7,000 in the next few days, but again, it's not as clear as it has been over the past few weeks in Bitcoin's price action, much like we've seen in the past with the bull runs. It's getting more volatile. There's more up and down price action. Because of that, there's higher risk to buying at these levels. So again, we're still seeing resistance. Actually, to be fair, we're up against the 6,000 area, but we're still seeing resistance around 6,200, which is what we saw over here. Now, the wicks did cross over it, but again, we haven't had a close above there. And it seems like this is looking like it wants to go down. There hasn't been much price action for Bitcoin in the past day. And when you see these kind of doji candles, these uncertainty candles, meaning, well, I generally like to call them uncertainty candles, because doji is pretty much meaning that the market's like unsure. It's where you have the candle have 2 extended wickses, both on the top and the bottom, and the actual open and close is very tight. This shows that markets are uncertain, and this might mean if you see multiple of them, a multiple amount, then that means that markets might be going the other direction. Now again, it's no guarantee, but it's a technical sign that we can look out for. All right, so again, I'm not really adding my Bitcoin position here, but I really would say to look towards altcoins, in my opinion. Of course, no buy recommendations as of now, but again, I wouldn't be looking to add on your Bitcoin position just yet. I'd wait for a pullback and see if it doesn't pull back, if it can sustain these levels and start forming a more stable uptrend. All right, next up is Ethereum. So a lot of you have been asking me about Ethereum and whether or not this is still a good long-term play. Again, I have no negativity against Ethereum. I think its USD valuation is actually quite fine, and its market cap has been sustaining pretty well. However, what we're looking at here, and much like how we look at any other altcoin, is comparative to Bitcoin. and the momentum is just not there. As you can see, we've been on a straight shot downtrend. You don't need any crazy technical analysis to really see this. It's just simple price action. Now, it is nice to see it on a low, meaning, you know, maybe a potential buying opportunity. However, I'm not really adding to Ethereum here. It looks like it's continuing downward. This looks kind of like a dead cat bounce, and it looks like we're curving back down and possibly going to new lows. Again, we don't have the full scale of Ethereum's price action here. It's just on TradingView. However, I will say that personally, I'm not really optimistic on Ethereum right now comparative to Bitcoin. Sure, we have, you know, a few updates coming to the Ethereum network over the next few months and going into 2018. However, at the same time, there's just nothing beneficial to investors. Whereas we see Bitcoin releasing all these new forks, all this free cash, and all these opportunities to eventually sell those forked currencies once they come through, and then, you know, make a ton of money holding your original Bitcoin that's already going up as is. So again, not too much to look forward to here in Ethereum. There is long-term wise a lot to see, but right now in the short term of things, I think what we're looking for is a potential breakdown against 4,800,000 Satoshis. And if it does that, there's more sell side to come, in my opinion. If it can sustain itself over the next day or two down here and build a base around 4,800,000 Satoshis, I'll keep my eye on it for a trade. We'll have to see. Next up is Ripple. So as you all know, Ripple was definitely having its little trending phase a few weeks ago. But it is just, man, it is not keeping up with Bitcoin, and most of the hype has died off now. So again, Ripple, you all know in a moral sense, we don't like Ripple because it helps out the banks. But right now, in a technical sense, again, it's doing what Ethereum's doing. It had almost like a dead cat bounce when we had the altcoin bounce, and then it's lost most of its gains comparative to Bitcoin. To be fair, there's not much optimistic signs here. A lot of these leaders, these kind of leading altcoins in the large cap space, have not been doing that well. And I think this is just due to uncertainty with the fork coming up, SegWit2x, which we're going to be talking about on this channel in the next day or so. Along with this, we've just got a general pace of Bitcoin going up. Bitcoin's been killing it. So right now, I think until we get some news on Ripple, I'm not really too optimistic on it. Then again, to be fair, if you're buying in now, you're buying it in on a lower end. So I think for a long-term position, if you really do like Ripple and you think it's going to go up long-term, this could be a level you could watch for. But again, no buy recommendations as of now. And then, of course, I can't give you actual recommendations, as you all know. Next up is Bitcoin Cash. Now, this is something out of all the 5 large caps, even more than Bitcoin, I've gotten more questions about recently. Bitcoin Cash has had a nice little turn up of events, and it was actually going up to around, I think, around 9 million Satoshis. So it was doing very well just the other day. However, it's still sustaining most of its run up, and a lot of people have been asking why this is. Well, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. On a technical sense, this is starting to look a little bit better now. As you all know, I'm not the biggest fan of Bitcoin Cash. I don't think it does too much really for the Bitcoin core technology once it forked off and created its own blockchain. To be honest, this price action does look pretty good though. I don't like the overextended wicks, but so long as it holds above 7 million Satoshis, this could be looking for more uptick in price action, as we can see. If the price action continues to wedge in here, as we see here on the hourly, if it can sustain this and if it can break out here, that would mean some good upside for Bitcoin Cash. And this might be going into uncertainty with the new fork coming out with SegWit2x, but there's a more better explanation in the short term. And that is where the money's coming from. Again, in anything in life, guys, if you're ever curious about a question of why is something the way it is, or why is something happening, or, you know, whatever it may be, you know, something that seems so shocking and questionable, and there seems like there's no solution to, follow the money. It always explains things. Now, why it's circulating there, we don't know why, but we can see that Korea, South Korea, much like it has in the past, is funneling massive institutional money into Bitcoin Cash. Why is this? We don't know. Again, that's the one thing when you learn about where the money's coming from, then your next question is, where is it coming from and why is it coming from there? Again, we don't know exactly why this has been happening. Now, there are some large institutional players on the eastern part of the world. That's where a lot of the mass money is in crypto. However, we can obviously see who's dominating the trade volume. 50%. More than 50% is coming from BitHum, South Korea's largest exchange, and then Corbit as well, with $58 million in volume. So the top one, 400 million. I mean, this is just abstract numbers that we usually don't see for Bitcoin Cash. And we can see that in the chart. If we go here, I mean, this is like when we had the initial kind of FOMO rally with the miners coming in after the difficulty had dropped. Now, I don't really think this has too much of a role to play with difficulty change. As we can see, we haven't been seeing that change as the difficulty has adjusted every 2 weeks for the past few months. It hasn't really caused a rally like this. However, I think this really has to do with South Korea funneling institutional money, and they do this all the time. They put it into individual cryptos that they can trade. And every time a new coin gets launched on South Korean exchanges, usually one of the mid caps or large caps in the crypto space that people know very well, you see an absolute uptick. You see huge volume come in, and it's just clearing through the sell wall. You can never know when it's going to happen. However, when you start to see the volume tick up, you got to watch the volume. If you start to see Bitcoin Cash up 6 or 7% or something, your first intention should be to go check the volume. Or, better yet, actually, this is something that I've actually been thinking about doing a video on, and I have talked about in the past, is watching the big exchanges for South Korea. And, every few hours, checking the volume and seeing where it's going towards, and really seeing what players that money is funneling to. So, again, watch the numbers. It's all there for us, and it's up to date. So, again, Bitcoin Cash, I think, is simply just getting some volume, and I think it's getting a lot of institutional support from South Korea. Reasons as to why? There's really not much right now. But if I do find anything, I'll be sure to share it with you all in the community. And last up is Lightcoin. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about Lightcoin, as many Charlie Lee fans are out there asking me, Nick, what's going to happen to Lightcoin and stuff? It's been going down. And I even saw on Twitter people were like PO'd at Charlie Lee because he's been talking more about Bitcoin than Lightcoin. And to be fair, I got to give it to him. At least he's not like, he's not trying to pump up his own coin. I give him props for that. And he's really engaged in the crypto community. It speaks, volumes about his character. However, I do have to say that Litecoin itself is not looking too optimistic right now. Again, it's repeating what we're seeing with all large cap altcoins. Again, I'm not going to repeat through the whole thing that I've said for Ripple and for Ethereum. Just seems like the same case right here. We're not getting the serious volume come in. And we got some serious sell side action here the other day. So again, the volume had poured in, and even after the prop up in price action, the volume didn't come in to meet up for that sell side. And because of that, I think we're continuing to falter through. It just can't keep up with Bitcoin. Again, this is the same case with so many of these altcoins. It's upsetting because some of these are some serious leaders that have been around for a while. And I think it's pertaining that we're going to get another altcoin rally. Now, why would I say that? Because I think there's going to be new players coming in the scene. As we'll see later on, as we'll talk about with Vertcoin, I mean, there's been some serious players gaining double-digit gains each and every day with little to no pullback. So Litecoin might be up for a challenge with some other players. So keep an eye on that. But however, there is some news with Litecoin, which we're going to talk about as well, which is kind of confusing as to why the price action was very short-lived that it saw the other night, which was pretty bullish price action. So, on to the news headlines. Is China planning to resume Bitcoin currency or cryptocurrency trading soon? This is something that I think I got sent. Someone sent me this article a little bit earlier today, and it was just so funny to read. And I know so many people who are watching this right now are like, oh my god, yeah, we've seen it in the past and stuff. Like we were all calling for this to happen again. They'd resume trading. Now keep in mind, it's not as ridiculous as it seems. What's happening here is a shift in how the trading is going to be conducted. So for right now, most of the trades in China, trades have not completely gone away in China. They just haven't been happening on exchanges. It's been happening through local Bitcoins and things like that are peer-to-peer off-exchange transactions where you don't need, official exchanges to run, and it's simply just two individuals making deals and decisions and compromises on exchanging Bitcoin for fiat currency. However, for official, registered exchanges, there haven't been any really operating in central China. However, out in Hong Kong, there's a little more of a positive vibe coming into fruition. And there's a lot of exchanges who are starting to, in Hong Kong, become trading hubs for Chinese citizens where they can exchange the Chinese yuan for Bitcoin. So, and of course, other altcoins as well, as it seems. So OKX is going to be one of those exchanges that's going to be a peer-to-peer OTC or over-the-counter exchange where individuals will be able to start trading with the Chinese yuan with cryptocurrencies. This is a good sign. And actually, along with that, they're supporting the US dollar and Japanese yuan or Japanese yen as well. So this is a good question I like to have in the article. Aren't OKX and Huobi Pro, if I'm pronouncing that right, now based in Hong Kong? This is true. However, they will be able to service Chinese customers as well, which is very good. And I think this is, again, much like with any case, you see Hong Kong always being the central hub of freedom for the general people of China, you know. Again, Hong Kong always comes to save the day when it comes to freedom and markets, and I think it's going to do the exact same thing. Japan was kind of the temporary safe haven for all the Chinese investors that got cut out, and that's why Japan became one of the largest places to trade cryptocurrencies for a short period of time. However, now we're seeing it flow back into China. It's still on the eastern part of the world. However, it's coming through new exchanges. And with all this new regulation and then the eventual recount coming back into crypto leads to new players taking on the space. So I think OKX might be a leader in this space. They might come in and really kind of, you know, fill this hole that's been here for the past few months. So again, I'll be looking more into OKX if there's more information on it. Looks like a nice little exchange, but it's good to see that China's getting more of a positive vibe back into crypto. And I'll definitely be reading up more on it, keeping more track on it, and really seeing what's going on in Hong Kong in the sense of cryptocurrency. We all know that, you know, for example, John McAfee, his cryptocurrency ICO is out there in Hong Kong. That's where they're based. So I think it's a hub for innovation in the sense of China. I mean, again, Hong Kong will always be the land of freedom there, where free markets really can prosper. So next up, as we were talking about with Litecoin earlier, Litecoin has entered massive markets this week as it has entered South Korea's second largest exchange, and that is Coin One. Now, this was pretty big news for Litecoin just the other night. In the sense of it being big news, the volume has not extensively come in yet. This is good news, however, because it is going to mean more of a chance to see one of the big funneled buys into Litecoin. Now, if we go to the price action on Litecoin, as I was talking about very shortly, we saw a nice little spike up temporarily. But on the scale of the 7-day, this really wasn't much, and not to mention, it's completely closed down those gains and has gone lower comparative to Bitcoin. So, whereas it was a nice little bump up of $100 million in valuation, it was very short-lived. Now, the reason why this isn't a trade opportunity, or why it wasn't a trade opportunity to buy in after a rally like this, is because we're not going to buy it instantly off the news of it going onto a South Korean exchange. Now, what we're looking for is to get it on a dip and then wait till the day where that institutional money, which is rushing into Bitcoin Cash, rushes into Litecoin. It's happened in the past. I've witnessed it firsthand. I've seen it on the markets where it just flows in when I was holding Litecoin, and markets just absolutely FOMO into it, and it's crazy. But we have to wait for the moment where it's cheap, where we can buy it on a dip. And it is at a dip, yes, but I honestly think there's more downside to come to this. So, again, it was very short-lived. The news sold off very quick, so I think we have to wait and see it go down to a few more days of losses for Litecoin, and then we might be able to find a good trading opportunity. And I'll be sure to let you know if I spot it. Next up is Vertcoin. Vertcoin has been absolutely obliterating every single expectation that I've had for it. Now, I know a lot of you out there have been curious as to why I cover Vertcoin so much. I know, for example, I got accused by someone that I was shilling it. Folks, this isn't me doing this. I don't have all the money in the world to prop up Vertcoin, and I don't think markets or miners really care about my opinion of it. You can obviously see that markets are adopting the crap out of Vertcoin. It's going absolute AWOL. There is no stop for Vertcoin right now. And I'll give you a little bit of a theoretical reason as to why I think this is. But folks, look at the chart. I mean, we were covering this back when it was in the $50 to $60 million range just a few weeks ago. And now, towards the end of October, this thing is, really holding against $5.50 almost. $221 million. Comparative to Bitcoin, it has smashed every expectation. It's been one of the best performing altcoins in the actual top 100. So that's something to really, pat on the back for long-term investors on Vertcoin. And I think that miners are really waking up to the potential of Vertcoin. It has an active community. They have a ton of features, as we'll look to in a minute. But I really think there's something bigger at play here. The big reason why I think that Vertcoin is doing so well is because it is serving as the alternative to Bitcoin Gold. What Bitcoin Gold could never really be. It had an absolutely failed launch. It's selling off like crazy. There's no hope for Bitcoin Gold at this point. But what there is something like Vertcoin. Sure, it doesn't have the Bitcoin brand. Sure, it's not fancy and flashy like Bitcoin Gold. But what it does have is tech. Okay? It has the one-click miner, which we've been talking about on this channel. Currently it's in development technically to become better, but right now you can use it. It's functional. Functionable, sorry. It has segregated witness activated. It has the Lightning Network in its alpha phase. It has stealth addresses in development, being able to make slightly private transactions. Atomic cross-chain, so atomic swaps. I mean, this is huge stuff for something like Vertcoin. Again, it's one of those more traditional cryptocurrencies that's just, something more fit for the mining space. It's proof of work. But what's great about it is it's fitting something that Bitcoin Gold never will, that it said it would, and that is decentralized mining. This has been a huge topic, something that I've been passionate about as I've been learning more and more about the mining space. Vertcoin's doing it. And with the one-click miner, they're making it simple for people to get involved. If you have a GPU, if you have, pretty much anybody's computer has the ability to do mining of Vertcoin, but if you have a serious core GPU, like me, for example, I have a GeForce GTX, if you've got a GPU, you can play a role in being a miner for Vertcoin. You can be a part of the Vertcoin community. And I think that's powerful. That's what crypto used to be about. It was decentralization. It was decentralized mining. Not centralized mining where a few very high up parties in the world control the mass majority of a cryptocurrency, in the case of Bitcoin. This is how you decentralize mining. You bring it to a new cryptocurrency that not only is doing a stellar job of providing great transactions, a consistent network of miners, but along with this, updated features. They're killing it in their community. So again, if you wanted to learn more about Vertcoin, you could watch my video on it. But as much as I think it might need to have a cooldown here, God, I was saying that just the other day when it was about 20 or 30% cheaper. I mean, this is phenomenal price action. Congrats to the longs. So, outside of that, back onto the headlines. The EU government pegs blockchain as beneficiary of $30 billion in research. Well, this is a little bit misleading. I want to keep in mind CoinDesk, as well as any other cryptocurrency news station right now, is quite misleading. They did not put $30 billion into research for blockchain. Blockchain is a part of a program that is going to be spending $30 billion in research in the EU. So this whole thing, the Horizon 2020 initiative, is an initiative to invest in a variety of different focus points. They're doing artificial intelligence, genetics, blockchain, and a few others. But blockchain was one of the big headlines, and it is cool to see that it's a part of such a big research fund. So if you're interested in this, I recommend you read through it, learn how governments around the world are starting to wake up and realize, no matter if they like cryptocurrencies or not, blockchain is extremely efficient. It's going to be saving people tons of money. And there's a lot of ways we can apply this to finance. We can do it to supply chain management. We can do it to data storage. We can do it to healthcare, all kinds of really interesting stuff that I think we didn't even see possible with blockchain about a year ago. So keep an eye on this. This is interesting to see governments finally waking up to the potential of blockchain. And it will give a lot of substance to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies because you're not going to have it one way or the other. All right, so next up, Australian Central Bank regulating blockchain protocols unlikely to be effective. This is something we've been talking about for quite some time. We love our based Aussies. Australia really gets it when it comes to cryptocurrencies. A lot of people have kind of championed Australia because it has been a land, an oasis of freedom for cryptocurrencies. Much better tax benefits, much less regulation in the space. It has definitely been a safe haven for crypto investors. And I think where there's all the fun in China, Australia is quite a sight for sore eyes in the sense of regulation, because it realizes you can't really regulate blockchain. You can't regulate cryptocurrencies at the end of the day. Sure, you can shut exchanges down. Sure, you can say, oh, we're going to shut down mining. I think Andreas Antonopoulos did a great piece on that too as well. If you want to talk about, if you want to look up, he did a video on shutting, can the government shut down Bitcoin, or I think cryptocurrencies in general. And he did a great piece railing on China and stuff in the sense of shutting down mining operations and how you just can't do it. There's just no way you're going to eventually shut down the whole network. And first off, you can't shut down the Bitcoin network unless you turn off the internet. But at the end of the day, it's just with the amount of costs that come with trying to stop the blockchain, it's going to cause more damage than bring more benefit to the government. So again, this is a good quote right here. The distributed and cross-border nature of digital currencies like Bitcoin means that regulation of the core protocols of these systems is unlikely to be effective. It's good to see things like that coming out of the government. And it's good to see also as well that they see the greatest potential for blockchain is likely to be in sectors where workflows involve lots of different parties with no trusted central entity, and where current practices are quite inefficient. So they're basically going towards like the fact, it's like, look, blockchain is really only going to step into things where decentralization is kind of standard. However, as much as I do agree right now that's what it's tackling, at the same time, we see it tackling into industries that are very centralized. Now, with blockchain, you do have decentralization, and that can be an issue. But things like Oregon, we are seeing how blockchain is finding ways to structure itself, to be structured and be able to build unification within the overall chain and still have structure, at the same time having freedom and the benefits of blockchain as well in the sense of transactions and information. So, again, looks interesting to see my based Aussies. Oh, I hope you all are proud to see your government coming out and saying, it's probably, or well, I guess not your government, the Central Bank of Australia. Well, that's even better to see a central bank saying that. But it's unlikely to be effective. That's awesome to see. And I hope all my Aussies out there are proud to see that. So, again, there's a lot of interesting stuff going in the crypto space. And as always, with my daily updates, I plan to, if I have an opportunity, I'm not just going to flash something if I don't see it. If I do see a trade opportunity, I'm going to share it with you all. I recently bought a position in Salt, Salt comparative to BTC. As you all know, I've been using Binance, so I'm getting the grind in with Binance. I'm getting a little bit back into trading with my free time that I do have. And I spotted Salt. Now, the reason why I'm optimistic on Salt, I covered Salt a while back on my channel. I was one of the few people, I think, actually in the space to really cover it during its ICO phase. Now, Salt is a very interesting project. It's a crypto lending platform. And along with that, there is some really interesting technical price action with this. Now, Binance was, if I remember correctly, the first exchange that Salt listed onto that really had solid liquidity, solid volume, and cash flow going through. In the case of Binance, what I'm liking here with the price action, I'm not seeing any crazy technical indicators. There's not much you can do with this kind of price action. But what we can see is a flat line on the sell side. So we start seeing, this kind of drastic ICO launch, the craze, and then it eventually sells off as always. But what we're starting to see is a flat line in the price action. So I think what we could see here is a slow curve up and a potential ICO reversal. Now, of course, this isn't a day trade. I know this is the daily update. I think this is something we'd have to watch over the next week or so. So I have bought a trade in. I'm pretty much flat on my trade right now, but I recommend you all check into it, see if you like the Salt project, and definitely see if you'd be open to it. Of course, no official recommendation. I'm no trader, or no investor, investor helper here. I'm not going to tell you all what to buy, but again, this is a trading opportunity I see at hand, and I think that Salt is a good project in the long term. I think it's a little bit oversold from its ICO hype, and I think it could do very well over the next few days, in my personal opinion. Anyways, everyone, that's it for the daily update. I hope you all liked the video. If you do like it, please, again, drop a like and comment down below what you liked about it. And if you got some criticism, leave it down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you all, as always. I love getting your feedback. I'm going to say it a million times. I hope you all can get used to that. But anyways, that's it for the video, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.